What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so of course, man, the big news in sports right now, it should be the great individual performances that we've been seeing in the NBA so far this season. Whether we're talking about Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Victor Wembanyama, uh, Zion Williamson. We've seen some great individual starts to this NBA season. But instead, the cloud over the sports world right now, not just the NBA, but the sports world, is the FBI investigation apparently of the NBA and connected underworld associates when it comes to illegal gambling operation. And we've seen now the arrest of over 30 people, including Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, former NBA All-Star, Hall of Famer, Terry Rozier, a guard with the Miami Heat, I believe, and former NBA player Damon Jones. And we've seen some others whose names have been connected to this situation, either directly or indirectly, including LeBron James, right? Today, the news broke that Congress wants to have NBA Commissioner David Stern testify for more transparency on their actions involving this situation or related to this situation. Remember, they had a so-called investigation which cleared Terry Rozier not that long ago. So they want to hear from him. Amidst all of this chaos, a 2023 podcast segment with Rasheed Wallace, former NBA player, has resurfaced where he talked about, and I remember this, I think I even did a video about this on my old Too Raw for Sports channel, if I remember correctly. It was either Too Raw for Sports or Too Raw Media. But I did a video about this when he spoke on his belief that some NBA games are rigged. Now, we all know Rasheed Wallace used to always get into it with officials, especially in his, I would say, the first 5 or 6 years of his career when he was younger. He has a record for most technical fouls in the season with 41. He's the main reason why the NBA had to change his rules about as far as technical fouls and suspensions. But he always maintained that he thought some of these games were rigged. And this is what he had to say, man. And this resonates so strongly right now.
With the referees, that's why I was just saying, as I got older, I didn't have to do all the cussing or come with attitudes. No, I'm just hitting them with logic now. Like, oh, so y'all got that email last night, huh? Oh, then they flare all up. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I know about y'all email shits. No, let's not forget that. I know about that. Man, look, it's been an ongoing war.
You're referring to emails from the league with, this is what we discussed in Whistleblower, but emails from the league that are telling the referees to officiate the game in a certain way and against certain players.
Yeah.
And so you were cognizant of that at the time.
Oh, yeah, I was very, because to me, I saw it. And he'll tell you what I always used to say, y'all making it too obvious.
I thought it was crazy.
Y'all making it too obvious, too blatant. Y'all making it too obvious. I said, y'all want the fans to be able to watch the games, but y'all sitting up here calling a lot of these bullshit calls is doing what? Slowing down the game. Y'all want the fans to see the dunks and all that shit. Yeah. So call that shit both ways or don't call that shit at all.
Yeah, he's always hear him say, call it down there. Call that shit down there. But what's interesting is that when Rasheed Wallace was playing, most fans, and I'm being honest, most fans called him a whiner. Most fans said that he was a crybaby. Stop crying about calls. Just play the game. It's a reason why him and some other guys were always complaining about officiating. And, up until like the 2000s, I think most people thought that the NBA was pretty much on the up and up, right? Now, of course, prior to this situation that's going on now, the biggest knock as far as to the integrity of the league would be probably the scandal that involved Tim Donaghy. But that wasn't necessarily an NBA scandal. If I remember correctly, that was more of a gambling scandal that involved the mob and other entities, but it happened to involve an NBA official. Okay. Of course, at the time, the commissioner was David Stern. He pretty much maintained that it was limited to Tim Donaghy. Okay. Tim Donaghy has maintained that it was not just limited to him, that it was widespread among the NBA. I suspect that there was some shenanigans going on even during David Stern's era, but it hadn't gotten out of control. I think ever since Adam Silver's taken over, it's gotten out of hand. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you got to look at the NBA product and for what it is. Remember, there was a referee that was busted, by fans or social media for being a Celtic fan? His wife and children were seen with Celtic attire, and he was a Celtic fan, and there were some questionable calls he made in that series against Boston and Miami that went against Miami, and I think that very year, during the offseason, that ref mysteriously, quote unquote, retired. And we've had other instances. The 2002 Western Conference Final between the Kings and the Lakers. That playoff series a few years later against the Spurs and the Suns. We've had multiple games, if not a series, but games that have looked real funny. You know what I'm saying? As far as calls are concerned. The fact that the Lakers, even though they like to make excuses for that's the case, the fact that the Lakers consistently over the past several years have shot hundreds more free throws each season than the second team that season. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of things that go on that we've always heard. We've heard rumors that during some important games, coaches would either get a briefing from an NBA official, or not coach, excuse me, refs would get a briefing from NBA officials, a high-ranking NBA official, or they'll get an email from a high-ranking NBA official about how to call a particular game or what to look for. To me, that's pretty much trying to coach officials into or refs into looking at a game a particular type of way. That's pretty much what you're doing. But I mean, this shit is rampant everywhere. Look at some of the decisions we see in boxing. My goodness, did you see the spread of that fight between Crawford and Canelo? One of the judges had it 115, 113. So at the end of the day, man, corruption is all over the place, man. It's all over the place. And when you have gambling being legalized, and you got these players who oftentimes are idle, they're retired, and they recently retired. They're young men in their 30s and 40s, and they have a lot of money. And they're used to these are very competitive individuals who no longer have the high and low of the NBA season. They need something to replace it. And gambling can replace that high, although it can bring you low, and they get addicted. And it's just a terrible thing, man. And then sometimes we wonder why some of these guys end up on Skid Row or, worse. Then you add the mob element to it, man, and that increases even more of a chance that the game today is on the up and up. I don't see how, I'll be honest with y'all, man. I don't see how Adam Silver survives this. I don't see how he survives this, y'all. I don't see how he survives this situation now. Now that Congress has called him up, And this is the tip of the iceberg. I don't think this is going away. And I don't see how Adam Silver survives. I think he's going to step down eventually. That's just me. But I don't see how he survives this, man. But Rasheed Wallace been telling us for years, man. He's been vindicated. Tell me what you guys think.